Going is live. Woohoo! All right. Well, here we go for a little bit more Esther. It's been a little while since I've been talking about Esther, huh? I took a little vacation there. hmm Well, here we is back talking about Queen Esther, and Queen Esther is. Let me see if I could ever find where I left off here. hmm The end of the lesson. Okay, there seems to be nothing there. Now I can't find the end of the last time I talked. It's in verse 21. That sounds good. So we're talking about verse 21. It says, during the time Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, became angry and conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. But Mordecai found out about the plot. He told Queen Esther, his niece, who in turn reported it to the king, giving credit to her uncle Mordecai, giving credit to Mordecai. And we're going to go into the next one here. And when the report was investigated and found to be true, the two officials were impaled on poles. All this was recorded in the book of the annals in the presence of the king. So all these kings had their people writing for them, and it was probably a good thing because, as we see later on, that's going to be very, very important. These writings here, you need to have a journal. You need to have a journal. I got several of them. I got a sleep journal, which I forget to use. A food journal, which I forget to use. I have to constantly check my time. I have to. It's good to write down what you're doing with your time. You see how much time you're wasting on Facebook and other things that are not really all that important. And that's just something that you need to do. You need to you need to be able to justify the time, justify how many calories you're taking in. If they're good calories, bad calories. If you're eating like me, every time I go to the Walmart, I'm always getting that box that they always put like a 99, 98 cents special, and they just throw them in a whole big bin there. And then they're always calling you. And they say, Victor, how you doing? Come over here, man. Come over here. I got a special box over here. It's the malted milk. Come over here and eat it. So I go over there and I eat it, man. What can I say? That we have an addictive personality, you know? And so here goes in verse 23. It says, and when the report was investigated and found to be true, the two officials were, oh man, what did I do here? And when the report was first investigated, I wonder how that investigation went. You think they told them you have the right to remain silent? Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law? I don't think so. I don't think so. These kings, man, they used to impale people on poles. It says here, when the report was investigated and found to be true, the two officials were impaled on poles, and this was recorded in the book of the annals in the presence of the king. Now, these people didn't kid around with their punishments either, man. They impaled them on poles. Then they used to put the 50-foot pole, 75-foot pole. What's up with that, man? You got to put them up there so everybody sees. You don't ever want to mess around with the king. I don't know, man. Could you imagine if that was to happen today? People be like, wow, did you see what happened to this guy, man? Yeah, they impaled him on a pole. Man, that's the most homophobic thing I ever seen in my life. Impale him on a pole, man. What the who these people were like incredible, man, when they used to punish people, you know. I mean, impale him on a pole. Well, I guess that made the news o'clock, the 6 o'clock news for sure. They were like the news at 6. Well, today 2 people were impaled on poles, a 50-foot and a 75-foot pole, and this was done in Central Park in New York City. Why? Details at 6 for eyewitness news. And then you hear the music. I'm sure CNN would have had somebody over there like the Reverend Al Sharpton. Say these people were our people. They were black people. And I don't know why they had to do that to them. They could have given them a jail sentence like 2 years and they would have been okay. You gotta love Al Sharpton, man. You know what I mean? That dude, I don't know. He's just a strange guy, man. I wonder if he still owes the IRS all that money that they were saying that he owed. I wonder if he paying that back or whatever, because homeboy making some money. Probably got more cheese than Kraft. They should make him pay some of that. And I used to live in New York, man, so I know exactly who Al Sharpton was the first time I heard about him in that Tawana Brawley case, man. Poor girl, something happened to her. Something. She's- she says she got raped by a whole mess of police officers. Let me see if I can put that up here. But anyway, the thing was that Al Sharpton got involved in it, and she never got justice. Okay, that's it. It was all about the headlines. hmm Radio was talking about it. TV was going crazy about it. And maybe some before some of your people time, you know. But man, being impaled on a pole. Talk about your preparation H moments, huh? Wow. And Haman's plot to destroy the Jews. After these events, King Xerxes honored Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. All the royal officials at the king's gate knelt down and paid honor to Haman, for the king had commanded this concerning him. But Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor. Okay, they weren't supposed to bow down to anybody except God. Where does it say that? I'll look it up and I'll put it in the notes. I always say that. I never put it. I never put it down in the notes, man. But anyway, King's Gate asked Mordecai, Why do you disobey the king's command? Day after day they spoke to him, but he refused to comply. The king's command. Day after day they spoke to him, but he refused to reply. He refused to comply. Therefore they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated. For he had told them he was a Jew. So his only defense was he's a Jew. I'm a Jew. I don't bow down to man. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. And we talked about anger before, how people, man, and I gotta check myself out. Lately I've been getting mad at this kitten. No, he's not a kitten. He's a grown. He's a pretty big cat now. Last year he was a kitten. But been in my house all day long. So I let him in my house, right? And then he finds of all places to call his. He decided he was going to take my winter coat. I got one of those winter coat with the nice, and just in case if I ever go back to snow weather or whatever. And so anyway, he decides he's going to sit there. Yeah, he's going to lay down there. I see him. He's like there. And every time I used to go into the living room, he would be there. And I left the door a little bit open so that this way the cats could come and go. Because I don't know. It was just a crazy idea, man. I don't know why, man. With stray cats, you got to be very careful, man. You got to be able to let them get out, because if not, they will go through the windows. I heard they will go crazy. They tear up your house, and then you're gonna have to let them go. The mother cat, I left her in here. She made a hole. She got out of the house going through the dryer vent. That's pretty big. That's big enough for her to get out. That's for sure. She got out right through there. And Well, I've been getting mad at that cat. I gave her a week of punishment, no food, no milk, and she was like crying every time. Every time the mama cat and the other one, the one that I call the glutton, every time they would come and they would get food and run away. And she'd be like looking like, and then she'd look at me like, "Where's mine?" You know, I didn't give it. Only thing I gave her was a spray. Because cats don't like to get wet. And I got my own special concoction that I use that made her even more mad. I think she got even more afraid of me. And I take old man urine and put it in that spray bottle and spray that cat. They be gone. They be gone. All you got to do is just one time. After that, they'll be running. They just look at the bottle and they run. They go crazy at it. They just run away. And but now everything's cool. I was really getting mad at that cat. Every time I see him. But I put myself in check. I realized that animals, you got to train them. You got to train them not to come in here. Well, the reason was that I had told the cat to get out the house, and she got all crazy. She showed me her teeth and everything, like she was gonna hit me. So I slapped her. I slapped her so fast she didn't even know what happened. She was like, "What the heck?" She probably thought I was the same old guy who went down the stairs and fell down and cracked myself out there. I was like Humpty Dumpty. I fell off the wall. And she was probably thinking, "Oh, he ain't gonna be here. I'll show him my teeth, and he better back away because I will scratch him." You know. She went. I said, I said, "Don't you dare show me your teeth. What do you think you are hissing at me?" Yeah, man. But everything's cool now. I gave her a week punishment, and if she ever showed me her teeth again, I'm gonna yank those teeth out with a rusty plier. You know, you gotta watch it when you gotta watch it with your anger, man. You gotta keep that in check. You gotta know when to use it, and do not sin. The Bible says, "Do not sin in your anger." Here goes my Marco Rubio moment, drinking some water here. So Haman was enraged. Yet, having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead, Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout the whole kingdom of Xerxes. This boy was like a pre-Hitler, you know. In the 12th year of King Xerxes, in the first month, the month of Nisan, the pur, that is the lot was cast in the presence of Haman to select a day and month, and the lot fell on the 12th month, the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Xerxes, "There is a certain people dispersed among the peoples in all your provinces of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. Their customs are different from those of other people. They do not obey the king's laws. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it please the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administrators for the royal treasury." So here goes the first political action. 10,000 pieces of silver was the price to kill off a whole mess of people, a whole race of people. Now we didn't have no ACLU, okay, which is very very subversive kind of people. They try to go around the laws and try to go straight to the courts, because some dummy in the White House and in the Congress actually allowed the Supreme Court to dominate, in all areas. Something that the original founding fathers, never ever ever would have thought that that would have been the day when they would have been able to say the Supreme Court is the last word. No, this it was never intended. This country was never intended to be ruled up in Washington. Five old people usually. I think they're all older than me. Well, I don't know about the Supreme Court Chief Justice. He might be younger than me. I'm 61, so I think I think this other guy too, Kavanaugh. He might be younger than me. I guess that's how old you think. That's when you know you're old. When you're older than some Supreme Court justices, you're going downhill fast. Um, Not only am I remember when we used to go out to Bear Mountain. I don't know if people ever been to Bear Mountain up in upstate New York. Think it's upstate New York. I think so. I think it's up there by I don't know where it was. I know Catholic school used to take us to some cheap trips, man. Take us up to Bear Mountain. Ain't nothing up there. They had like a pool, I think it was. They had like a jive pool, and they used to make us sell like 1,000 candies make a, just to get a trip going up there or whatever. But anyway, the Bear Mountain didn't have anything, but it did have a mountain. You know, we used to go up that mountain and slide down that mountain. Sometimes on our feet. Sometimes, most of the time, you couldn't keep your balance on that steep mountain. I don't know if how that used to be in the wintertime with snow on there. Probably it was much more entertaining for those people who like to snow and ski and stuff like that. But trying to keep your balance running down that hill or sliding down that hill, that was a challenge. But we did it. We were down for it. We figured we were like the YOLO. You only live once. So we did that, and we used to jump on the backs of the trains as they used to pull out of the station or whatever. Uh, Climb on the outside of the train just to not pay whatever what it was, 10 cents, 25 cents, or whatever. And sometimes we even had passes, but we don't care. It was just the thrill of it. Sometimes you'd be climbing up there, and you see the train coming, and you'd be like, "Oh no!" And then the guy in the booth, in the token booth, would go crazy yelling at us. Hey, what are you people doing over there? Do you know you could fall down, and if you fell down, there was traffic down there on the Third Avenue Well. So you would fall down. That was a pretty big height too. I mean, think about it. That was like, I don't know, 30, 40 feet, something like that. Plus falling down in the traffic. That was crazy people. But going back over here, you people get me distracted. I don't know why, man. And 10,000 pieces of silver was all that was needed to kill off a people. That's it. 10,000. How many people here got 10,000 pieces of silver? How much does a piece of silver go for now? Probably a silver coin, less than 100, right? I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen people go to pawn shops with $100 little dimes. I've seen that before, and they were like $115. I think it was $110. This is a little while ago. I don't know if the price has gone up or gone down, but this is 10,000 pieces of silver. Somewhere in this house, I have a silver flute. So I guess the day that I move out, or the day that I move the house to another place, because usually they make you take out everything out the house when they do that. Well, then I'll be able to play the flute again. I guess. But there's 10,000 pieces of silver is all it took. So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. The Agagite. You got the Agagites and you got the termites. Okay, the enemy of the Jews. Keep the money, the king said to Haman, to do with the people as you please. Whoa. So he got one up. And sometimes some people like that. Just like when you're playing poker, you put in a bet and the guy will go over your bet. So here goes. And probably this guy knew it. He probably knew how this king was. Very generous, giving presents during the royal wedding and everything, and having a tremendous banquet. And giving gifts to people. He was very generous, very wealthy, and I bet he was getting them money from all them provinces that there was. What was that? 127 provinces. It's a lot, man. That's a lot of taxes, man. Everybody be paying the king. You know, anybody gonna get paid? It's gonna be the king. You know. So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. Here goes a new title. He's the enemy of the Jews. Keep the money, the king said to Haman, and do with the people as you please. Uh-oh. So on the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. On the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. They wrote out the script of each province and in the language of each people on Haman's orders to the king's satraps, the governors of the various provinces, and Haman's orders to the king's satraps, the governors of the various provinces, and the noble of various peoples. These were written in the name of King Xerxes himself and sealed with his own ring. All you needed was the ring. You didn't even really, it didn't really, it could have been fake news, but all I had to do is have the ring imprinted. That's it. That's all they needed, man. Dispatches were sent by couriers to all of the king's provinces with the order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on a single day, the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. A copy of the text of the edict was to be issued as law in every province and made known to so that they would be ready for that day. So they had 11 months to prepare for the killing. Now I don't know if this is the same 11 months that we had because sometimes these people they went by different calendar months. They may have went by something similar to ours. I hear that some places they used to go on a different one because they used to go on different calendars. But we know that they had a lot of time to prepare for this one. And these people probably looking at it, they'll probably thinking, man, look at that guy over there, Saul. See Saul over there? Saul got some good stuff in his house. I went over to his house, man, and he got over there. He got some jewelry, man. Yeah, man. I think his great 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 grandpappy got it from the pharaoh. You know what? He was like, so the couriers went out, spurred on by the king's command, and the edict was issued in the citadel of Susa. And King Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa. Let me turn off this light here. As you can see, I got pictures on this wall here. There we go. The couriers went out spurred on by the king's command, and the edict was issued in the citadel of Susa. The king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa, in the citadel of Susa, the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was bewildered. That's true. It was saying like, what's going on here, man, with all this? Mordecai persuades Esther to help. This is the next chapter. I should say the next section. When Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the city, wailing loudly and bitterly. But he went only as far as the king's gate, because no one clothed in sackcloth was allowed to enter it. In every province to which the edict and order of the king came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing. Many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So there seems to be a lot of Jews there. When Esther's eunuchs and female attendants came and told her about Mordecai, she was in great distress. She sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. Then Esther, almost forgot, man. Almost forgot. Every time we talk about Esther, we got to let me see here. Mm, mm. Every time we say Esther, what do we do? She's a brick house. She's my tomato. She's letting it all hang out. She's a brick house. You thought I forgot about that, right? I did kind of forget about it. I kind of got into the lesson a little bit. But every now and then you gotta just throw it out there, because you gotta make this thing a little bit funny. I think that's just me. If it wasn't funny, start saying funny things. And she said, if it wasn't funny, it wouldn't be you. It wouldn't be you, Victor. So what can I say? Okay, so they sent uh clothes for him to put on instead of sackcloth, but he would not accept it. Then Esther summoned Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs, snip, 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 assigned to her tender, and ordered him to find out what was troubling him and what was troubling Mordecai and why. So Hathach went to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate. Mordecai told him everything that had happened to him, including the exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for their annihilation, which had been published in Susa, to show that Esther to show to Esther and explain it to her. And he told her to instruct her to go to the king's presence to beg for mercy and plead with him for her people. Hathach went back and reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. Then she instructed him to say to Mordecai, all the king's officials and all the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in an inner court without being summoned, the king has but one law, that they be put to death unless the king extends the gold scepter to them and spares their life. But 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king. 30 days. So what was the king doing those 30 days, man? If I had to find one, 3 days would be forget forget about 30. 3 days would have been a lot. I mean, if she is so brick house like everybody's saying, she's so fine, she had a figure, 36, 24, 36, what a hand, you know. What and 30 days. But then of course the king probably had a lot of a lot of concubines, a lot of other wives. Who knows if Vashti was still around. Probably, I don't know. I know, but anyway, 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king. So even though she's queen, she's the second one behind the king. Well, back then, I don't know. Back then, if the king would have died, I don't think she would have been ruling. I'm not sure how the Persians did it. But I really doubt a woman would have been in charge. Most likely it would have been Haman or something. And when Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer: do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come into your royal position for such a time as this. Hallelujah. Man, I'm going to stop right there. And I'll tell you something. I have come into this is my time right now. You know, uh, one of three things are going to happen. Well, either one, I'm going to get some money selling this CBD oil, which has allowed me to reduce the amount of oxycodone that I take. Okay, I was taking up to like 5 pills, and don't tell my doctor, but sometimes I even took a little bit more than that. All right. Don't tell my doctor now at the VA. But anyway, I was just in too much pain, right? Sometimes, so it was just taking the pills and going to sleep, you know. And so I'm gonna be going door to door. I'm gonna be doing evangelism, And I'm also going to be selling this CBD oil for people who are in pain or whatever. It's a topical usage. You put it in your mouth also. And, this thing is going to make me some money, but it's also going to open up the door for me to take less oxycodone because now I'm only taking like anywhere from a half a pill. Yesterday, I think I took two. Sometimes I take as much as three, depending on how bad it is, but still, anything is better than five and more. Anything is better than that, man. Just thinking about the constipation alone is too much. And the nausea. I'm gonna get into this whole constipation and nausea thing. I'm gonna make a comedy video, about the constipation and the nausea, and that's the nausea is the reason why I thought I was going pregnant there for a second. And constipation is really bad, man. And the dizziness. Oh, I don't know if people knew, but I had a couple of falls, and I'm contributing it to that oxycodone, because it says right there in the effects that it can get you dizzy, you know. So what are we looking for? We're looking for souls to be saved, money to be made, maybe even a Bible study started, a Bible study or church founding. Because we're going to be knocking on these people's doors. They're going to be telling me about their problems. I'm going to be telling them about my past problems and my current problems, and we're going to pray. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ask them, hey, you mind if I come back here another day? Today's a good day for you? I mean, you're here. I mean, maybe I could come back next week and we could talk a little bit more. And if they accept Jesus, I'm coming back tomorrow. We're going to come back every day for the first week so that this way they can get founded, they can get grounded in the word of God, because that's what you need. I remember when I first came into the uh, Christian fold, I had pastors that used to come and visit me at my house, take me out my house, go make their rounds with me, visiting other people, visiting sick people, visiting people who haven't been to church for a while, and great Pastor Pedro Ruiz of Iglesia de Dios Pentecostal Movimiento Internacional, which is the uh, International Church of God, international movement. It's a Spanish church that I started going to in Puerto Rico. And also over here, there was another great pastor who helped me out a lot. He was from the Church of the Nazarene over there in Flushing, Queens. He helped me out a great deal when I first got out of prison in 1978, and I started attending his church, and his name was Pastor Robert Taormina, and he has since, what the story is with him. I tried to look for him. Maybe I look for him over here, and now that we got Google, maybe I could search for him. But I just pray for both of those pastors. They were very, very instrumental in my early development in Christianity. Well, I see by the clock that it's 34. So I'm going to let you people go. And I know you want to keep on seeing this. This is a pretty good story. This whole drama between King Xerxes, Esther, Mordecai, and Haman. Okay. So God bless everybody. And next time I'm going to be talking about the nausea and the constipation and the relief that I'm getting from this CBD oil, and the dizziness. Dizziness is also, that's pretty bad when you start falling down. That's serious. When you start falling down, I remember I told the doctor before this started happening, I said, well, being dizzy, what's the worst that could happen? And he told me you could start falling down. It's true. So listen to them doctors, listen to them doctors. My doctor told me, he said, CBD oil is good because, the people say it's just as good as oxycodone. And I think well, I know it has cut down on my oxycodone usage, but I'm gonna see it how it works out over the whole week. I'm gonna let you know what the average is on a weekly basis, and then on a monthly and a yearly basis. We're gonna see, of course, on the 14th in 14 days, 2 weeks. I am gonna be getting a oblation, so that should take away a lot of my nerve pain. That should take away everything. I shouldn't be able to feel nothing after that, according to what I read on the internet. I don't know if those nerves grow back and they remember the pain, get memory from the. You get some Alzheimer's in there for those cells, so they don't remember the pain, because our bodies are renewed. I think it's every month or something like that. The cells in our bodies die off. New ones are made. So I don't mind getting some stem cells for my hair. Get some stuff so they stop getting so white, man. I would dye it too, but I see these people. They look so fake, man. They're the same age as me, and they look like a teenager. What's up with that? All right. God bless everybody, and I'll make sure that I put the how do you say uh, that I put this in the front so that this way I won't the spot. And what is this here? All right. And I pray that you guys have a great day. Also, pray for me as I'm going out into those streets, and that God would use me. You would use my mouth to talk to these people, that open up the door. That they would be receptive. That God would give me words. That God would direct me to the right door. That's my prayer. God use me. God direct me. God change me to better reflect your perfect and glorious light. Okay, and pretty much that's it. Okay, God bless everybody. Have a good day. Let's see. End the stream. We're gonna end it. Yeah, we're gonna end it. Yes, I do want to end.